Live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television, here we present to you tonight's news bulletin. But first, the headlines. Greetings of His Majesty the Sultan to His Excellency the President of the United States of America are conveyed by His Excellency the Foreign Minister during its reception held on the occasion of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Secretary General of the United Nations praises the efforts of the Sultanate of Oman to support stability, peace and security in the world. The Sultanate of Oman welcomes the positive talks that took place in Riyadh between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the delegation of Sana'a, with the participation of the Omani delegation. And gross domestic product at the current prices records over 20 billion Omani riyals in the first half of 2023. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Greetings and wishes of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to His Excellency Joseph Biden, the U.S. President, and to the American people for continuous prosperity and for relations between the two countries to further progress were conveyed by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Foreign Minister, during the reception held by the U.S. President on the occasion of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. For his part, His Excellency, the U.S. President, asked His Excellency the Minister to convey his greetings, appreciation and best wishes to His Majesty the Sultan and the Omani people, and for the relations between the two countries further progress and prosperity. His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, praised the efforts made by the Sultanate of Oman under the leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to support stability, peace and security in the world. This came during his meeting with His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Foreign Minister, on the sidelines of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly held in New York. During the meeting, they also discussed developments in a number of regional and international issues of common interest. His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Foreign Minister, participated in the dialogue session at the Middle East Summit in New York. During the dialogue session, His Excellency the Foreign Minister stressed on the Sultanate of Oman's firm position on many regional and international issues, most notably the Palestinian issue and the necessity of achieving a comprehensive and just peace based on the two-state solution, in addition to the Sultanate of Oman's welcome of all initiatives aimed at encouraging and strengthening stability in the region. His Excellency also discussed Oman's vision for zero carbon neutrality and the pillars of Oman Vision 2040, as well as the Sultanate of Oman's openness to multiple investments and partnership opportunities in the fields of tourism, blue economy, mining sector, and other areas of economic diversification. The Sultanate of Oman has welcomed the positive talks that took place in Riyadh between Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Sana'a delegation. Oman's participation in the discussions was in pursuance of efforts made earlier. In a statement issued by the Foreign Ministry, the Sultanate of Oman commended the constructive discussions, ideas and proposals aimed at reaching a comprehensive and lasting solution in a manner that meets the aspirations of the Yemeni people. The Royal Oman Police celebrated the graduation of a new batch of recruits on the military parade ground at Sultan Qaboos Academy of Police Sciences in Nizwa. The graduation ceremony was held under the auspices of His Excellency Engineer Saeed bin Hamoud Al Ma'wali, Minister of Transport, Communications and Information Technology. At the beginning of the ceremony, the graduates performed the military salute for the chief guest. Then, the commander of the parade requested the chief guest to inspect the guard of honor After that, the graduates performed slow and normal military marches accompanied by Royal Oman Police musical bands. Then, the chief guest distributed appreciation certificates and prizes to the distinguished graduates. After that, the graduates chanted the Royal Oman Police anthem and took the oath of loyalty and chanted thrice, "Long live His Majesty the Sultan, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces." Finally, the graduates performed a military salute to the chief guest, and the commander of the column moved forward to take permission to leave the parade ground, and the column marched before the main dais with normal march. The gross domestic product GDP at the current prices in the first half of 2023 exceeded 20.3 billion Omani Riyals by the end of June. Data issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information pointed out that the GDP at current prices recorded in the second quarter of the current year decreased by 9.5% to reach more than 10.8 billion Omani Riyal compared to the same period in 2022. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and yet to come in our news bulletin. Oman Cancer Association in South Sharqiya Governorate organizes an awareness event on children cancer. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Libya's Minister of Youth addressed the United Nations General Assembly more than a week after devastating floods killed thousands in Derna. During his speech in front of the 193-member international body in New York, he appealed for the world to live up to its responsibility to Libya in order to help cope with the aftermath of this disaster. The Libyan official said it was necessary to hold free elections in the country as well. Officials have given widely varying death tolls since dams above Derna burst in a storm on September 10th. The mayor estimates over 20,000 people were lost, while the World Health Organization has confirmed 3,922 deaths. Russia launched its biggest missiles attack in weeks on Kiev and across Ukraine today, wounding at least 18 people, damaging energy facilities and causing power cuts. Partial power cuts were reported in 5 Ukrainian regions in the west, center and east, bringing back memories of a Russian air campaign on critical infrastructure last winter that caused sweeping outages for Ukrainian civilians. Kiev mayor said that 7 people were injured in the city. World War I cemeteries in Belgium and France, the hills of Rwanda's 1994 genocide and a former torture center in Argentina have been declared UNESCO World Heritage Sites as the United Nations agency ends a moratorium on memorial sites for human suffering. The World War I sites encompass a series of military cemeteries, battlefield burial grounds, and memorials between the north of Belgium and the east of France. The 139 sites trace the outline of World War I's Western Front and hold the remains of tens of thousands of soldiers of several nationalities. So far, the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp in Poland and the Hiroshima Peace Memorial in Japan have been the only memorial sites inscribed on the United Nations Cultural Agency's closely watched World Heritage List. Back here in the Sultanate, the Royal Navy of Oman concluded today the naval drill Sea Lion 2 2023 in Al Batin Naval Zone, which was conducted with participation from the Royal Air Force of Oman and the Royal Oman Police. The naval drill came as part of the annual RNO training plans, which aim at ensuring the readiness of its fleet and personnel in order to achieve their national duties. A delegation from the National Institute for Security Studies of the Federal Republic of Nigeria visited the National Defense College. Upon their arrival, members of the delegation were greeted by Rear Admiral Ali bin Abdullah Shidi, commander of the National Defense College. The visiting delegation was briefed on the college's facilities. The delegation also toured the college's departments and its various halls. A ceremony organized by Al-Alam Al-Iqtisad magazine in cooperation with the United Securities saw 15 companies winning the Best Performing Omani Companies Awards. Here is a report on that. 15 companies won the Best Performing Omani Companies Awards in its 14th session in a ceremony organized by Al-Alam Al-Iqtisad magazine in cooperation with the United Securities. The award targets public joint stock.
It is great to, be recognized by such a prestigious award, which is done by Alam Al-Iqtisad. I really appreciate honoring me on this. So we are a young brand. My Perfume Select is a very young brand. We can say that we are 30 years old, but still very young. And we are a local brand, which has a global vision.
The awards were divided into 3 categories: large, medium and small capital companies, in addition to honoring a number of companies and personalities in a number of economic sectors which achieved unique and distinguished achievements.
Of course, it is extremely important due to the fact that whenever we meet and we see the people still going, producing, and perfecting what they do, whether it's services or product, for us it gives us the energy to continue, because in life, you learn, you earn, and you return. Returning is one of the most important things, and when you return to community, you return to your job, to your business, by doing the things always better.
This year's edition of the award comes in light of the economic developments that the Sultanate of Oman has witnessed during the past period, and the annual initiative also aims to support and encourage companies to improve their performance. The GCC countries stressed on their continued support of all initiatives meant to boost human rights. This was mentioned in a statement delivered by His Excellency Ambassador Idris bin Abdul Rahman Al Khanjari, permanent representative of the Sultanate of Oman to the United Nations and international organizations, on behalf of the GCC countries within the 54th session of the Human Rights Council in Geneva. He stated that GCC countries believe in the right to development as a foundation for human rights. He also added GCC countries welcome the draft convention on the right to development to minimize the pressure of social and economic inequality which hinders development around the world. The Central Bank of Oman decided to keep the interest rate on repurchase operations for local banks unchanged at 6%. The decision came after the U.S. Federal Reserve decided to hold interest rates unchanged at a range between 5.25% and 5.5%. The bank explained that this comes in line with the monetary policy of the Central Bank of Oman, which aims to maintain the fixed exchange rate system for the Omani Rial in line with the structure and nature of the Omani economy. The policy has a number of advantages for the Sultanate of Oman, including the stability of the Omani Rial, limiting capital migration abroad, and instilling confidence in investors by removing the risk of exchange rate fluctuations. Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry branch in Musandam Governorate held its second meeting on OQ Gas and Network initial public offering. The meeting aimed to share more information with local and international investors about the initial public offering system, the available shares and categories. OQ Gas Network in planning to release 49% of its shares in its first initial public offering to give opportunity for investors to contribute to the company as exclusive operator for natural gas infrastructure in the Sultanate of Oman. Oman Cancer Association in South Sharqiya Governorate organized an awareness on pediatric cancer. The event included presentations and exhibitions. More details in this report.
With September being Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, Oman Cancer Association in South Sharqiya Governorate organized an event to provide education and awareness to parents and children who wish to know more about what symptoms parents should look out for in their children.
The cancer in young ages and young group ages of people is increasing nowadays, and that reassuring the increasing awareness for such a condition. So this event comes to help society increase the awareness regarding the preventive measures, the treating ways, and to treat and face the wrong ideas the society has regarding such conditions, so to help cure very basically dear age group regarding the society.
Children cancer in Oman reaches around 6% among Omani kids. As a result, parents of young children in Oman are being asked to remain aware of the symptoms of childhood cancer so that doctors and nurses will be able to catch it early and treat it in time.
The main aim of this occasion is to make the people and the community aware of the common symptoms and signs of malignancy and cancers, especially in this area. We want to let the people know that what are the common symptoms and signs of this disease and how to recognize early, because early detection is always preventive, and it has got a better prognosis and better outcome.
The event included an awareness exhibition contains a variety of brochures and pamphlets that help the visitors to know more about the causes and symptoms of childhood cancer, as well as the best habits and practices to prevent it. This event comes to provide a platform for parents in order for them to know more about childhood cancer and to continuously encourage their kids to adapt healthy life practices to avoid it. Sultan bin Saif al-Sara'i from South Sharqiya Governorate, Wilaya of Sur.
This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Greetings of His Majesty the Sultan to His Excellency the President of the United States of America are conveyed by His Excellency the Foreign Minister during a reception held on the occasion of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. The Secretary General of the United Nations praises the efforts of the Sultanate of Oman to support stability, peace and security in the world. The Sultanate of Oman welcomes the positive talks that took place in Riyadh between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the delegation of Sana'a with the participation of the Omani delegation. And gross domestic product at the current prices records over 20 billion Omani riyals in the first half of 2023. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television, directed by Hilal Al-Maliki. From the entire news team and myself, we thank you for joining us. Wish you a pleasant evening and good night.